unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. It is Saturday, March 18, 2023. It's 9 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour here in the studios of 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. We are live on our social media platforms. You can check us out on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or our Twitter account at WINNMedia SKN. And of course, for the latest in what's happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis, across the Caribbean region, and internationally, visit www.winmediaskn.com. All right, welcome to Inside the News here on 1FM 98.9. It is the 18th day of March 2023, and this is Inside the News. I'm Devon Cornelius. Inside the News, a look at what's happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis across the region, or what has happened or transpired throughout the week, and for you to get an update on those events. Recently, for those of you who've been following the news, especially in the Caribbean, in the Caribbean island, of St. Lucia, they are battling with a crime situation. The security situation there is deteriorating. The Prime Minister, the Police Commissioner have been speaking out on the issue. They've implemented a number of measures. They've done what they can to address or respond to the drastic increase or the surge in crime and criminal activities taking place in St. Lucia. I've been reading up and listening to some reports coming out of St. Lucia, and the situation there over the past few days were out of control. The police force, according to a statement that I was listening to, have been equipped with the necessary crime-fighting tools, and a number of measures that have been implemented to fight crime or respond to the situation there in St. Lucia. I read a report, or was listening to a report, the other day, where it said that the government was forced to close a community because of the crime situation escalating there. I think a school and other community, what's the word I'm looking for? Hubs or whatever you want to call it, but particularly the school, they had to close down that area because of um, the criminal activities that were taking place there. I mean, these days the criminals have no regard for safety and public safety, and they're determined. They're telling themselves, this is my target, and I am going to go after that target. It doesn't matter who is in the way. And that is basically what transpired over the past few days in St. Lucia. The police commissioner there gave a statement on the situation, and the Prime Minister, Philip JP, also spoke on it. And he had the support of the High Command of the police force, as well as his cabinet colleagues, to respond to this situation. We know when it comes to crime, nobody can get it absolutely right. And governments across the region have tried a number of things. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we had the peace program. Many of you know what the peace program was about, or had an idea of what it was about, but we had the peace program, and that, in a way, from my observation, like put a cap. And so we had a period or a stint of let me say normalcy. Things were quiet, things were normal. Let me correct myself, we have the peace program, and things were quiet, things were normal. And so governments across the region have been implementing all kind of things, have been doing all kind of things, increasing the number of police officers in the police force. They've been increasing their salaries. They've been providing more vehicles, better guns, better crime fighting tools, all in an effort to respond to the crime situation. But as it is, there is nothing, I don't think there is anything that any government can do to eliminate crime. However, there are things that can be done to limit criminal activity taking place in the country. And instead of just locking up the perpetrators or the criminals and throwing them behind bars, there's some of them I believe who deserve to be rehabilitated. There's some of them who I think deserve a second chance at trying to make it in society, trying to make it in the community. I do believe they deserve a second chance. And having those programs in place to help them so that they can help themselves, I think is really important. I'm going to pull up the statement from the police commissioner in St. Lucia, which will be followed by a statement, or the Prime Minister rather speaking, a news report with the Prime Minister speaking on the crime situation there in St. Lucia for your benefit.
People make the world go
Today marks yet another critical occurrence in our country's history. A growing prevalence of criminal elements spilling over into our public domain and claiming lives of our citizenry. As Commissioner of Police, I am tasked to lead the organization primarily responsible for ensuring citizen security and safety, and we therefore owe an account to the public that we serve. Through the course of 2023, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force has recorded tremendous operational successes, to include increased police visibility through patrols, traffic checks, community outreach programs, the seizure of about 40 firearms to date and continued, the prosecution of offenders, contact with the public to foster better partnerships to address rising crime threats and trends, and increased collaboration with our partners in the region, especially the French, in crime fighting and border control operations. Through our intelligence gathering efforts, we have been able to successfully avert the commission of several homicides. Yesterday's activities, though truly disheartening, are in no way an indicator of a lack of resilience on the part of the members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. These were the actions of cowards intent on spreading mayhem, which we will not allow. Following the recorded homicides across the town of Vieux-Fort, the police set in place immediate short-term measures to allay the fears of residents, commuters, the business community, and other concerned citizens. Some of the measures which may be disclosed at this juncture include a heavy presence of uniformed police officers by way of foot and mobile patrols geared towards increasing contacts with members of the public to provide not only physical security, but also a sense of safety as they traverse around the town and its environs. Other efforts, such as having a team of investigators on the ground, reaching out to partner agencies such as social groups, governmental agencies, business associations, religious and educational facilities, are being undertaken at this time to holistically address the challenges presented by the sustained acts of violence in the area. Violence cannot be effectively addressed by short-term measures, nor by the actions of solely the police. Failure to realize this and address it effectively will only lead to continued acts such as yesterday's rearing its ugly heads periodically. It is in this light I call on and call out those who embolden, appease, facilitate, and turn a blind eye to the actions of those who wish to sully our country's reputation. You are as virulent as those you protect. Without you, they cannot thrive. And to weed them out, we will firstly deal with you. Often, fear is used as a guise under which enablers hide, but we know this to not always be the case. Some benefit, whether financially or otherwise, from the actions of these individuals, and we as a society and the Royal St. Lucia Police Force as a law enforcement organization will no longer accept this ruse. We are at a pivotal moment in our history. We got to decide to be a country of supporters of law and order, or a country of miscreants and those who provide safe haven to them. I say to you today, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force will not stand by and allow this without a fight. A fight we must, for we cannot allow the few to overpower the many. We need to preserve the sustainability of this country, St. Lucia. We call on you, sons and daughters of this country, to take a stand for our country. To the witnesses of these incidents, I say to you, I understand your concerns. We understand your fears. But as the saying goes, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. We can no longer do nothing. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Without action, we stand as prey, simply awaiting our turn to be impacted by the callous actions of the few. I implore you to place your trust in our capabilities. Report this information anonymously. Our crime hotline 555 is functional, and there is no threat of your identity being discovered by any party you may interact with. St. Lucia, together we can do this. With concerted efforts between the police, all affiliates, and the public, the fight can and will be successfully waged against crime.
Undeterred by the level of crime affecting the island, Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, remains focused on pursuing workable policy interventions to help the Royal St. Lucia Police Force extract criminal elements from the island's peace-loving communities.
No member in my cabinet has ever said that he'll commit crime on his own. Each cabinet member is fully behind the police, fully behind law enforcement, and fully behind the people of St. Lucia and with the people of St. Lucia to cause a solution to happen to the scourge in this country.
Ridding the streets of illegal guns and disarming the criminals are among the Pierre administration's top priorities.
But the police must work with the customs, and the customs must allow the police to work with them. We cannot work in silos. The customs must allow the police to work with them in the barrel business so we can stem, or we can try to stem the barrels, the guns that are coming through the barrels. So I'm calling on the Comptroller of Customs and the Commissioner of Police to meet together again so that the police can play a role in the barrel inspection together with the scanners.
Prime Minister Pierre has facilitated the provision of 2 additional patrol vehicles, which will expand the existing patrol fleet and improve the police force's operational and tactical capacity and further reduce response times.
And every member in this cabinet is fully behind the police force and condemns crime, every member in this cabinet. And we show it by our presence, and we show it by our actions. We show it by not saying useless words. That is how we show it. We show it by not uttering useless words. We show it by not saying that we commit crimes on our own. We show it by our actions. And we will fight the scourge. We'll work with the police force. We'll work with the people of St. Lucia. And we call on the people of St. Lucia to work with us.
The new patrol vehicles were formally handed over to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force High Command on December 5th. The Pierre administration continues to equip the Royal St. Lucia Police Force with the necessary crime-fighting tools, equipment, training, and resources to effectively combat crime and keep our communities safe.
It will strengthen the police force operational efficiency and tactical fluency, attributes necessary for the effective delivery of a results-driven policing service. I look forward to the expected improvements in the tactical performance of our operational teams. We can do more, we should do more, with the continued provisioning of the requisite law enforcement equipment and resources. We will do more.
The Pierre administration has taken the fight to the criminals. In July, the legislature amended the Firearms Act to broaden the discretionary authority of magistrates and judges to impose longer prison sentences and higher cash penalties on individuals found guilty of firearm-related offenses. From the Office of the Prime Minister, Rihani Isidore.
INN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on Win FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is Saturday, March 18, 2023. It is 11:30 here in the studios of 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. The phone lines are open and we are welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. All right, for those of you who are just tuning in to Inside the News for today, I opened the conversation with an update on the crime situation in St. Lucia. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the Commissioner of Police gave a statement, but the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and the Prime Minister, who also has responsibility for national security, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, spoke on the security situation in St. Lucia over the past few months and most recently the past few days. The police there have been, battling with the crime situation. have been struggling to get the crime situation under control, particularly gangs and a surge in gang violence have been taking place. Communities have had to been closed, and I read a report where I think a school, was closed because of the situation. But as you listen to the reports, the police force, they are not stopping short of any idea or initiative or anything that they can use to respond or address the situation of crime in their country. When it comes to crime, it is not something that we want to hear. For some, it's not even something we want to entertain or talk about. Well, talk about in this sense. But we have all had our instances in terms of struggling with the crime situation. I brought it home recently when I spoke about the peace program we had here in St. Kitts. There is still a lot of mixed views and opinions on the peace program here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the benefits of that program and transparency and accountability as it relates to that program. Recently, the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, spoke on that. He has responsibility for national security. And in responding to some questions from the media on the topic of the peace program, the Prime Minister mentioned that one of the issues with that program was the people who were on the program were not benefiting from any social security payments being made on their behalf. And so you had a situation where people were, whatever program they were on, in that program, they were being paid, but their income was not secured. They were not benefiting from social security. And so with that it was an issue, and that is something that they're working on addressing. With that program, you must admit that we enjoyed a period of normalcy and, quietness. Yes, you had criminal activity taking place here and there, but you not only saw, but you felt it. You felt the reduction. You felt the quietness. You felt the normalcy. You saw it as well. You felt it and you saw it. And so, with the situation that's going on in St. Lucia, recommendations have been put forward. Perhaps they want to implement something similar, but with more transparency and accountability, that is, and to ensure that people understand and know exactly what it is that they're doing to respond or address the crime situation. In more news from across the Caribbean, an MP in St. Martin has been arrested for bribery. And this is shocking. Let me read for you. The criminal investigation team of the Kingdom Detective Cooperation Team on Friday arrested United People's Party leader. Oh my. Oh boy. Let me go again. Sorry, the name I remember the name from an article I read in relation to something else. But let me continue. The criminal investigation team of the Kingdom Detective Cooperation Team on Friday arrested United People's Party leader, Member of Parliament Rolando Bryson, for bribery. Bryson's arrest leaves the governing National Alliance coalition, supported by MPs Akeem Arundel, Independent, and Channel Brownbill, without a majority in Parliament in the interim. And if his detention extends into next week, it could affect the public debate on the draft 2023 budget, which was scheduled to start on Monday. Bryson's absence leaves the coalition with 7 MPs, the same number as the combined opposition. It is understood that meetings are being held internally to determine a way forward. Now, in addition to the arrest, searches were conducted by the Chief Judicial Magistrate, at the suspect's residence and his workplace at the Parliament building. The arrest and the house searches took place in connection with a criminal investigation called Lisbon, where the suspicion is that the MP took bribes and abused his position. The investigation is ongoing and further arrests and searches are not ruled out, the prosecutor's office said. The prosecutor's office did not provide the MP's name or other information about the case as the investigation is still ongoing. The Daily Herald, however, understands that it is Bryson. The Lisbon investigation is being conducted by the RST under the direction of the central team of the Attorney General's Office of Curaçao, St. Martin, Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. The central team focuses on a specialized approach to combat corruption and subversive crimes. Breaking news coming out of St. Martin, the Member of Parliament there, Bryson, have been arrested on allegations of bribery. Well, arrested for bribery. And Mr. Bryson is the leader, the party leader for the United People's Party, or UP or UPP. And he's a part of the National Alliance coalition, which also has other MPs, Akeem Arundel, who is an independent, and Chanel Brownbill, who is a part of a party called the US Party. And because of that arrest, they've left that coalition without a majority in Parliament in the interim. And according to this, if the detention extends into next week, it could affect the public debate on the 2023 budget. It is 11:40 in the studios of WINNMedia Family 98.9. We'll take a break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take some calls. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go round.
Breathe easy. With the holidays just over and lots of fun spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't favorable, TDC Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside News right here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open and we are welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. We're also live on our social media platforms. You can check us out on our Facebook page, our Twitter account, or our YouTube channel. All right, let's head to the phone lines and we will take some calls. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good day to you. Greetings once more again in Jesus' name, the only Savior of his elect sinners from hell and from their sins, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, I would like to say, you're just discussing the crime right now, the crime issue right now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you see, the problem is, I think you were just mentioning St. Lucia. Well, the thing is, be St. Lucia or wherever, including us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, all of these issues, these negative issues, these evils that are plaguing us, are all the results of us, including but not limited to the government, the churches, families, and so on, disobeying the Bible, rejecting the Bible. And that is why we're having all these crime issues and that sort of stuff. Now, we seem to have glom on to a bad philosophy that says the end justifies the means. And so because something seems to work, we seem to say, oh, that is the way to go, when actually in the end it will cause more problems for us than anything else. And that even, and I said that with the mind, with having in mind the peace program, because of a certain time it may seem that we may have been having peace because it is unbiblical, anti-biblical. It actually have been preparing us for worse in the end. Higher national debt, increase in crime in the future, and all that sort of stuff. Carrying up helping to cap the cost of living, and all these things, which would result in the end in a worse crime situation. You know, not because you have a calm does not mean a storm is not there in the future. It doesn't matter if the storm is just will not too long be after the calm. And that is what we have. But we seem to have gotten deceived that the end justify the means. No, only the Bible justifies both the ends and the means. And only the Bible is the way to fight crime. And in that issue, government going against the Bible, in disarming people from their guns and that sort of stuff, actually help in the end to increase crime, to make things worse. because you are going against the Bible when you're because the government is going against the Bible when it is disarming its citizens from guns and that sort of stuff that can be used for self-defense. Because no matter how much government ban guns or try to prevent people from having guns, the only people, the only people that will be affected by such decisions by governments are those who doesn't want to get in problem with the government and don't want to go to jail. But the criminals are still going to have their guns. And not only that, you now make it easier for the criminals to do the criminal activities, because we know the others of us who don't want to go to jail in risking having a gun to defend ourselves. We know we are just made sitting ducks for the criminals. And because we are made sitting ducks for the criminals, based upon the government disarming us, the criminal job is made a whole lot more easier. And so what seemed to be good in the end is very destructive, and actually ends up increasing the crime situation. And studies have been done all the world over, and it shows that government banning guns actually does not solve the crime issue. If anything, it actually raises the crime rate.
How so?
Because, like I've just explained, when you ban guns, when government ban guns, which is anti-scriptural, when government ban guns or disarm the people, the only people who are going to have the guns are those few who government approve of, such as army, police, and those few with the license. But with the vast majority of us will not be having any because we don't want to go to jail. But the criminals, they still will have theirs. And like I said, you make the criminal activity a whole lot easier because I know that about 99% of the time, the police also reach on the scene long after the crime has taken place. So in that window between you and the criminal and before the police arrive, you have no help. You're on your own. You have no help. So you're just a sitting duck for the criminal. And these are among the reasons why, for example, surveys and that sort of stuff have shown that, if anything, government banning guns causes a rise in criminal activity for these and other reasons. And like I said, anything that goes against the Bible actually backfires and makes things worse in more ways than one. So like I always say, we reject, we ignore, and we disobey the Bible. And when I say we, talking from government, churches, institutions, to the individuals, we disobey the Bible to our own destruction, doom, and ruin, and to our disaster and pain. And the only solution and answer is in coming to obey the Bible and repenting. Okay, thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. This is Inside the News for Saturday, March 18, 2023. It is 11:53 here in our studios. We'll break at 12 for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. For those of you who are just joining the program, I provided an update on the crime situation in St. Lucia, and a member of parliament has been arrested in St. Martin for bribery charges. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Devon.
Wait, there's some feedback in the background. Can you turn down the radio?
Sorry, just give me a second. Devon.
Yes, good morning.
Are we going to wait until what is happening in St. Martin and the other Caribbean islands? Are we going to just sit back and watch until it's spilled over in other Caribbean islands. Now, I'm saying this to say that, in my opinion, Devon, this is my opinion from my observation, there are outside forces that are causing these incidents that are stirring up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people like to say, oh, this is conspiracy theory and all of that. Now, let us look at the vaccine. Now, there is no evidence has been presented to say what is happening is a hike after the vaccine, people who took the vaccine. We don't know, Devon. We will never know, because we only know what they tell us. When they gave us the vaccine, they told us the vaccine will work. They told us a lot of things. They create vaccine, they give us, and they tell us it will work. CARFA. Information was passed on to CARFA. CARFA passed it on to the doctors in the different districts, our Dr. Laws and the one who resigned, and they fed us with the information to get us to take the vaccine. Devon, we don't know if we put poison in our bodies to mess with our DNA. Today, let me go back to when COVID came on stream, Devon. 2019 was the year of return for Africans. Again, I'm going to say to us, Devon, I am speaking to black man, woman, and child. We were a collective that was interrupted and disrupted by a race of people. We have a common enemy. We cannot take what they feed us with anymore, because everything that is European and American, it is bad for us. Make no mistake about this, Devon. The quicker we wake up and recognize, the better we are, because these are the people who took us from our land and brought us to where we are. Now, again, Devon, I don't know how much you know about our history, because our story is what they took. We are imitating who has imitated us. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Devon?
I'm following you.
We are imitating who has imitated us. Now let us go to our ancient ancestors who was using the herbs, Devon, and were curing our people. Today we have pharmaceuticals who have created lab, and what they have provided us with, they learn from us, Devon, and they take what they learn from us and they put it in a lab to create economics. We are never going to be cured, because it's all about economics. Our ancestors was healing. Let me also say this. When we were eating herbs, we weren't even used to be sick. When we were eating herb given to us by our Creator that said, you shall eat of every herb of the earth, we weren't sick. The creatures, the carbon copy came into our space, and when they saw us studying the plants, they couldn't comprehend it, but they were fascinated by it, like every other resources that we have, and they turn it into economics. Devon, pharmaceutical and their labs that they're creating our herbs is never to cure us. Man, this thing is so deep, right, Devon? But we are all in our space. Now, look at technology today. You can do your own research, Devon, but look, when you have the technology at your fingertips, you also have distraction. How many of our people take time out to research? But no, we have TikTok that is distracting us. China is the new Trojan horse, Devon. Are we going to let China control us the way the Europeans did? We need to cut off from Europe. The Caribbean leaders need to break away from everything that is European and American. Because, Devon, there's a new era and there's a new earth. And as you see what is happening in America with the banks and the infrastructure and all that are collapsing, Devon, that empire, that era is on its way out. That empire has crumbled and a new empire is going to rise. Devon, all the foreign military powers with their weapons of death is on our continent. We need to take hold of that, Devon. That is our future. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, caller, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News right here on WINFM 98.9. We'll take a break at 12 for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. For those of you who are just joining the program, I provided an update on the crime situation in St. Lucia. A statement from the Commissioner of Police there, Cressida de Carpelius, that's the name, and the Prime Minister also spoke on the crime situation. We'll take this final call before the headline news. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Devon, good morning. It's quickly me again. I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. I'm not saying that if government start to obey the Bible by allowing us to really be and carry arms, that is all there is. No. There are a lot of other things that need to be done, such as execution, public execution, such as making people who steal recompense who they stole from twice as much, and so on. There are many other things that need to be done. All I'm saying, what I said on the gun issue is only one step in the right direction. There are many other steps that need to be taken to minimize and bring down crime and to solve the crime issue. And by the way, nobody is no carbon copy of anybody, and Africans have always been historically and traditionally a meat-eating people, along with the herb. The Africans historically and traditionally was never a purely vegetarian people. They love the meat as well. And nobody is no carbon copy of nobody. All of us come from Adam and Eve. Thank you very much.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution. Let's take this break for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation for today.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM. You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and NHC.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less. Worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basse-Terre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown. Our top stories: reduce, reuse, and recycle continues to be the focus of 6th Global Recycling Day. 6 teenagers will compete for the 2023 Miss Gingerland Secondary School crown. Barbados government to pay out $10 million in severance to former LIAT workers. Jamaica to raise national minimum wage. Internationally, world leaders, including U.S. President Joe Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have welcomed the International Criminal Court's decision to issue Vladimir Putin with an arrest warrant. But what does the arrest warrant actually mean? Now the details. Reducing waste, reusing whenever possible, and encouraging world leaders to work together to recycle more is the aim of Global Recycling Day, celebrated each year on March 18th. The Global Recycling Foundation, which organizes the annual day starting in 2018, says recycling is so important because it stops 700 million tons of carbon emissions each year, reducing contributions to climate change. While plastics are useful and convenient, they create problems when poorly disposed of, especially when it ends up in the oceans. Plastic does not break down or rot in the same way natural materials do. The pieces get smaller and smaller but last for a very long time and can end up in potable water, fish for consumption, and other foods. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, 14 million tons of plastic end up in the oceans every year. But if we reuse or recycle plastic, the possibility of these negative effects is significantly reduced. On the occasion of the 6th Global Recycling Day, Minister of Environment, the Honorable Dr. Joyle Clark, in an address spoke of the significance of the day.
We need to protect planet Earth. Every day, we are consumed by news of increased and more intense storms, earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, drought, and fires. We hear of rising sea levels, endangered animals, plants, and habitat. We cannot stop nature from taking its course, but we can join the rest of the world in making small steps towards lessening the collective factors that contribute to global climatic change, environmental degradation, and pollution. Recycling is good for the environment. We are part of the environment. The food we eat, the water we drink, the very homes we live in are part of the environment. We must care about recycling. We must be intentional in changing our behavior towards recycling. To recycle, it simply means the process of turning waste into material that can be reused. Let us recycle our plastic bottles and reduce the use of plastic bags, straws, forks, and spoons, for example. Here's a start. I encourage you to start shopping with a reusable bag and avoid the use of plastic shopping bags. Participate in the Solid Waste Management Recycling Project, spearheaded by the Ministry of Environment and the Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission, and bring your plastic bottles to the various stations. Use a water bottle and refill. Together, we will move towards becoming a sustainable island state with our small steps of recycling of single-use plastics. I look forward to that day. Do you? Let us start recycling today. Happy Global Recycling Day.
Six teenage beauties will be vying for the title Miss Gingerland Secondary School 2023 next month. The Dynamic Six will grace the stage at the David Freeman Center of Excellence on April 29th, 2023 for a night of pageantry. The event will begin at 7 p.m. The contestants: contestant number 1, 14-year-old Lakeisha Clark from Form 3. Contestant number 2, 14-year-old Maura Daniel from Form 2. Contestant number 3, 12-year-old Jadanique Griffin from Form 1. Contestant number 4, 14-year-old Alicia Wallace from Form 3. Contestant number 5, 16-year-old Nikelsia Kelly from Form 4. And contestant number 6, 15-year-old Brehenna Stewart of Form 3. The pageant is listed as one of the activities in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Gingerland Secondary School. In regional news, Barbados government to pay out $10 million in severance to former LIAT workers. Jamaica to raise national minimum wage. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
The Barbados government says it will pay the 3-year-old outstanding severance owed to former employees of LIAT, amounting to $10 million. 89 Barbadians were affected when the Antigua-based airline terminated hundreds of its employees from across the region in 2020 without paying severance. The former LIAT workers, including pilots, have been demanding the millions of dollars owed in severance and other benefits. While wrapping up debate on the 2023 financial statement and budgetary proposals in the House of Assembly on Thursday, Prime Minister Mia Mottley said each worker would get $75,000 cash in severance. Those who are owed more will be paid in bonds. The national minimum wage in Jamaica will be increased to $13,000 per 40-hour week from June 1. That is about $85. Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced the increase during his budget presentation in the House of Representatives on Thursday evening. Holness said the increase is to prevent erosion of the income earned by minimum wage workers.
Pleased to announce that starting June 1, 2023, the national minimum wage will increase from $9,000 per 40-hour week to $13,000 per 40-hour week. This represents a 44% increase. The minimum wage for industrial security guards will move from $10,500 per week to $14,000 per week. Our government has done more than any previous government to create prosperity for Jamaica and Jamaicans. And we are proud to share the gains with all Jamaicans.
The new minimum wage is a 44% increase over the previous figure. Also effective June 1, the minimum wage for industrial security guards will be increased from $10,500 per week to $14,000 per work week. The Prime Minister said the government has engaged security companies to improve the conditions of work for guards and ensure that the statutory payments are made so that they will qualify for housing and national pension benefits. President of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, said the union is ready to bring its members out on the street in protest if the government does not comply with the court's order. Judge Esco Henry ruled on Monday 14, among other things, that the cessation of public servant obligations under the government's vaccination mandate was unconstitutional and illegitimate. Robinson said that if the government decides to appeal and does anything more to violate teachers' rights, the unions will stage rallies in Kingston. The government has said that it will appeal the decision. Approximately 500 public workers, including 200 teachers, were terminated because they did not take the COVID-19 vaccine and did not declare their immunization status before November 19, 2021, as required. The police in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have launched a probe into a video circulating on social media showing a physical confrontation between two police officers and a civilian. The video shows the civilian in handcuffs and being assaulted. The police force says it does not condone any acts of violence against members of the public by its officers. And in the British Virgin Islands, a former First Lady Lorna Smith has thrown her hat into the political ring, announcing that she has decided to contest the upcoming elections on a National Democratic Party ticket. Smith, who declared her interest recently as an independent territorial at-large candidate, said in a recent release that she felt the party's policies are more closely aligned with her beliefs. The former First Lady, whose husband Dr. D. Orlando Smith was once leader of the NDP, stated that her interests lay in the continued advancement of the territory and contended that no one will work harder to achieve this goal. General elections will be held there on April 24.
We now bring you these international reports.
The US President Joe Biden has welcomed the arrest warrant issued against Vladimir Putin by the International Criminal Court on Friday. Russia's president is accused of war crimes, focusing on the forced deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. It's the first time the court has ordered the arrest of a prominent serving political leader. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has hailed the decision as historic. Moscow, though, dismissed the announcement as outrageous, saying it doesn't recognise the jurisdiction of the court. Here's the BBC's Helena Wilkinson.
It is a war that he ordered, a war that brought death and devastation, a war that sent millions fleeing for their lives. But it's one that has now left President Putin accused of war crimes by an international court and even more isolated on the world stage.
The judges have reviewed the information and evidence submitted by the prosecutor and determined that there are credible allegations against these persons for the alleged crimes.
The International Criminal Court, based in The Hague, alleges the Russian leader and another official are individually responsible for the war crime of unlawfully deporting children from Ukraine to Russia. This was the reaction from President Biden to the ICC's move.
Well, I think it's justified, but the question is, it's not recognized internationally by us either. But I think it makes a very strong point. He's clearly committed war crimes. Thank you.
In the chaos that followed the invasion, millions of people were displaced, and there have been reports of thousands of children being sent to so-called re-education camps in Russia, alleged crimes for which Ukraine's president has repeatedly demanded justice.
This is a historic decision from which historical responsibility will begin. The head of the terrorist state and another Russian official have become suspects in a war crime.
A Kremlin spokesman said the allegations were outrageous and unacceptable. The foreign ministry said the arrest warrant meant nothing legally.
Russia is not a party to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court and bears no obligations under it.
The man investigating the allegations against Mr. Putin denied the warrants were symbolic.
There are reasonable grounds to believe that crimes within our court's jurisdiction have been committed. So those that feel that you can commit a crime in the daytime and sleep well at night should perhaps look at history.
Vladimir Putin may never be arrested or appear in court, but it's not every day that a serving head of state is accused of war crimes. And it's a signal from the international community that they'll seek justice from what's been happening in Ukraine. Helena Wilkinson, BBC News.
I spoke to our correspondent in The Hague, Anna Holligan, who gave us more details about the warrant.
There are so many people talking about this being a symbolic move, but actually what stands out as being very significant is that in order to issue these arrest warrants, the ICC needs to have sufficient grounds, sufficient evidence to be able to actually point the finger at President Putin. So that's why this is so important. And a lot of people are wondering, why focus on this specific crime? Those who've been watching the atrocities, the alleged atrocities being committed in Russia, in Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion, will be familiar with attacks on hospitals, power grids, and yet this is very specific, focusing on the alleged forcible transfer of children, Ukrainian children, across the border into Russia. And one of the reasons, I spoke to Karim Khan, the prosecutor, last night, one of the reasons is because they believe they have enough evidence to bring this case to court. But of course, that's just the first part of this. And Ukraine has spoken about this issue in the past and estimated that 16,000 Ukrainian children have been taken across the border into Russia, adopted, some of them by Russian families. And when I was speaking to Karim Khan, he pointed out that Russia had recently signed a decree which made it easier for Russian families to adopt Ukrainian children. And Karim Khan has been to Ukraine 4 times since February 2022. And the last time he visited a children's home close to the front line. He was surrounded by empty cots. He said then, and he said again to me yesterday, children cannot be treated as the spoils of war.
It's a very powerful indictment in that sense, isn't it? But in terms of practicalities with this, Anna, could it actually be a bit of a spanner in the works of any prospect of a negotiation to bring the war to an end?
Possibly, although the ICC would always say that it is driven by evidence rather than any kind of political motivations. But this is a geopolitical context that we're looking at all this from within. And the other issue is, of course, Russia is not a member of the ICC. As you said, they have described this arrest warrant as outrageous. In fact, the spokesman Dmitry Peskov compared it to toilet paper. And yet, 123 countries are members of the ICC. They are now duty-bound. They are obliged to arrest President Putin if he steps foot on their territory. So it could make travel very difficult if he decided, for example, he wanted to go to Cyprus or Serbia. The other thing to bear in mind is, in a few days' time, he will be meeting Chinese President Xi Jinping. That could feel very awkward because he will now be standing shoulder to shoulder with a suspected war criminal.
Stockholmers were on their way home for the weekend when the latest blow to their country's hopes of joining NATO was announced. Turkey would let Finland in, but not yet Sweden. The main reason? Turkey has claimed that the government in Stockholm is harbouring what Ankara calls terrorist groups, particularly the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK.
Nowadays, PKK has a black market here. Sweden know that, and Turkey know that. And Turkey will, Sweden, take it seriously.
Jindar Ah is a Kurdish journalist who came to Sweden in 2005. He watched in January as tensions between Turkey and Sweden reached their height, when Kurdish protesters in Stockholm hung an effigy of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in response to his demand that Sweden extradite a list of people he said were linked to the PKK. Some Kurds feared that having been given refuge, they could now be sent back.
Those protests about NATO and Sweden and Turkey was planned by PKK supporters. We are 2 different groups of Kurds here in Sweden. As a Kurd, I have a good life here. Sweden respecting me, my language. We will see what will Sweden do. As a Kurd, as an observer, I want to see the Swedish government to take some serious actions.
The situation wasn't helped when Danish right-wing politician Rasmus Paludan was allowed to burn a Quran outside the Turkish embassy. But whatever happens now, it wasn't meant to be like this for Sweden, who've been stepping up their military in preparation for joining NATO. It followed decades of neutrality, which had become part of their identity.
The common defence planning that we've been doing with Finland since 2014 will become much more difficult. It is right now that the ideas of NATO's new forward defence is going to be figured out. And in that work, it would be a very big benefit for NATO if they knew if they could include both Swedish territory but also Swedish military capabilities.
Particularly precious to NATO would have been Swedish technology, with its Gripen jets bolstering the alliance's airborne capabilities over the Baltic. Such an addition to their armoury in opposition to Russia is now up in the air. Last year, Sweden's entry into the alliance alongside Finland seemed all but assured as NATO countries rushed to welcome them in. But with Turkey and also Hungary still having doubts, Sweden may have to wait until the upcoming Turkish elections at the very least. Paula Rees, Al Jazeera, Stockholm.
A tumultuous week for stocks ended with all three of Wall Street's main indexes closing lower as an unfolding crisis in the banking sector grabbed headlines and spooked investors. The Dow and S&P 500 both dropped just over 1%, while the Nasdaq lost 0.75%. Shares of First Republic Bank plunged nearly 33% after it announced it was suspending its dividend, reversing Thursday's surge that was sparked by an unprecedented $30 billion rescue package from large financial institutions. Peers PacWest and Western Alliance also both ended the session sharply lower. It was the latest development in an ongoing drama that began last week with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, which sparked fears of contagion throughout the global banking system. SVB Financial, parent of Silicon Valley Bank, announced Friday it would seek Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Concerns have spread to Europe as Credit Suisse shares stumbled over liquidity worries, prompting policymakers to scramble to reassure markets. U.S.-traded shares of Credit Suisse also slid. Investors now turn their gaze to the Federal Reserve's two-day monetary policy meeting next week. In view of the unfolding banking crisis, some investors think the Fed might pause its rate hikes, something Anna Rathbun, Chief Investment Officer at CBIZ Investment Advisory Services, says could hurt the central bank's credibility.
I'm not entirely sure that we should be expecting the Fed to pause because, again, inflation's sticky, employment is still strong, and other central banks are looking beyond the banking issues to tame inflation. So the Fed's credibility depends on this. We also probably won't see the Fed saying that we were wrong and therefore we need to pause, right? That's another credibility issue. The Fed probably also does not want to say inflation is not important anymore because then they're just focusing just on banks and not on everyday Americans.
On the upside on Friday, shares of FedEx jumped after the package carrier hiked its current fiscal year forecast.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines: Reduce, reuse, and recycle continues to be the focus of 6th Global Recycling Day. 6 teenagers will compete for the 2023 Miss Gingerland Secondary School crown. Barbados government to pay out $10 million in severance to former LIAT workers. Jamaica to raise national minimum wage. Internationally, world leaders, including U.S. President Joe Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have welcomed the International Criminal Court's decision to issue Vladimir Putin with an arrest warrant. But what does the arrest warrant actually mean? Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and NHC.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Bastia in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
NHC is helping you to pay less in 2023. Having difficulties keeping up to date with your mortgage? Make an appointment to speak with your account manager today and learn how you can pay less. Our refinancing program will give you the opportunity to pay as low as $300 a month. Call us 466-4701 or visit our office at East Park Range. Pay less. Worry less with NHC refinancing program that's designed with you in mind. Offer valid from February 1st to June 30th.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company. Together we succeed, building a strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family. Together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50. People make the world.
Welcome back to Inside the News right here on WINN-FM 98.9. It is 12:34 here in our studios. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. What about you?
Well, you know, me and God good. As long as God is on my side, I'm safe. And I want to shout some greetings up to Nevis, my father and my motherland. My father and mother born in St. Kitts. But I was meditating. I said, you know something? You talk about the Gingerland thing coming up. Mm-hmm. And they have the David Freeman Center.
Yes.
He was my mother's cousin. Then you go to Bat Village.
All right.
Alberta Payne, my father's cousin. So please, all of you, I got to solve this before I start. All of you in Nevis, please, respect is due. Now, let me get to this thing about the crime and the young people. I'm not going to bother with the enemy part. Whenever was an action match and they stop discrediting my Bible and my Jesus, we will talk. Now, you know, the youth or the young explorers, as they call them, the group.
I've heard about it. Yes, I've heard about it before.
Yes, they're based mostly in the country. I think at St. Peter's. They're doing a great work, but I have been raising the question from the time they start. When are they going to do one in Bastille? I mean, you say Newtown, they say gang. You say Irish Town and Macnet gang. You say Village, they say gang. None of those have you think, you know. If I am incorrect, please correct me, somebody. There used to be a police boys club that met at the police training complex. Did you know about that?
No, I wasn't aware.
That was before they started the Young Explorers, where the aim was for the youths, the young youths, to be associated with the police, where they carry them on picnics, you know what I mean, try to normalize their life. That was ended and replaced with the Young Explorers. But to me, the children and the youth who need it most are still out there. And some of them seem to want to carry on tradition, you know, like the Italian gang. When the father finished, the mother and the children want to pick up. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's happening. And they're ignoring them. These are the ones that try to battle and ride the bike and that kind of stuff. And what are we doing? They need more than lock up, you know. There is a mentoring group I hear at some of the schools. But some of them behave so bad they put them out. So they're on their own. And even the little ones, them, you know, the older ones who say they finished, you all have to be more responsible. When they sit down and have the youth among them and talking about their old exploits. It is fascinating to anybody. But my father is a bad man, my father was a bad man. So we have these children who are now wanting to, I don't know, start their own gang. You listen to the age of the young people who are getting involved. 18, 16, imagine 16 and killing. I mean, we're breeding them. We know the young women and the young girls and in the high school. Only when they start to display their behavior, fighting and carrying on, then we notice them. I am saying to the police, I am sure you're tired of locking them up. Why not we start the program with the police and the boys or the girls until you're able to start the young explosion last year. By the time you're ready, they don't pass 18. I mean, I live in an area, you know. They say you want to come to see you, but afraid. Now the older ones are no longer in it. You understand? Some die. People have died on my street, you know, right next to me. So what you waiting for the young ones to migrate? Sometimes they just want a little word of encouragement. When you start to paint them from young, then some of them feel obligated to keep it up. And some of them have difficulty integrating into the system.
What would you say about replicating the peace program in St. Lucia?
But that's what I'm telling you. In Nevis, sister?
St. Lucia.
Which one they're doing? Tell me, because
I don't know what program they have going on right now.
What is your idea what they do?
Well, after listening to the statement from the Commissioner of Police, they're doing the ordinary, providing more tools for the police, and I guess the Ministry of Social Development, they have those after school programs and so on. But
that's what I need. They have a big community center up there, right? In Newtown, there's a big community center. And some people could even go under the tree where they are, on the bench. And we're missing it, you know. We're waiting to lock them up. That's why we're waiting to lock them up or have them killed. Because I told somebody when all the killing was going on, I said that is one way of the CID. We say, oh, our detection rate is low. That's a lie. We were having the battles and the cases tried on the street. So you have left to investigate. But I am saying today, social service or whoever, and the police, because the police have the hardest part. Do something for the youths in Newtown, Village, Irishtown, McKnight, and anywhere, wherever there is no youth or young explorers. I mean, you go to the school, start something. They were talking about in the cadet corps. We talk about it. How many schools have it? How many high schools have it?
Have that program? I'm not certain, you know.
Do you have any in Nevis? Cadet corps, which is the youth arm of the defense force.
Yeah, they do.
You know, we need one, not just. You got a big school with nearly 1,000 students. How many of them in it? You might have just draft some of them, you know. You might have to draft some, because some of them just lack discipline. Nobody ever taught them discipline. They have no respect for neither mother, father, nobody. Somebody has got to do something. Otherwise, the young group can take over the old group. And we have got to do more. You strengthen the police force. Why not strengthen them on the social end? You know, I studied in Jamaica, right? And I was quite impressed. There's a police boys club that used to come to our church. They would visit, you know, and they were doing a lot for them. So in spite of having these people, the aim is to get them out of the mindset that they have to follow in the step of their father, uncle, brother. So with their lamenting, that's why we don't take on some people, you know. Anybody could talk. We want action. We want positive action more than just lock them up. And some of you will hire them. Some of them, I said, you're working now. Everybody don't want to cut grass. They have ambition too, you know. They have ambition, and some of them have sexy too, eh? They have ambition. It's like in Jamaica. If you say you live Trenchtown and all of those kind of places there, nobody will hire you. How do you expect them to escape? If you condemn them before they start, eh? We have survey. Tell what you want to do. Some of them want to go. May want to go AVIC, or they may want to go technical college. We got to do more for them. They will say, "Oh, all they will do is sit down all day." They will sit down all day until you motivate them to get up. You know, some of these courses can be run in the community where you live.
That is.
I say we have community centers. Today I am appealing to the police, the defense force, all of you are burdened and saddled with trying to keep the peace. Please try and see if you could motivate them to either start the young explorers, because I'm telling you, I don't hear some preschool children. Give him big people. I just say, wait. You know, you talk to them, leave me, child. But me ain't gonna leave it, eh? If you know me, me ain't gonna leave it. I'm not the leave it kind. I mean, we got to do better. So while they're planning and scheming and whatever, and the police in charge of the young explorers, it is time enough you all start in your town before they become hardened, and then we complain, oh, nobody come in. Well, they're not going to come. You have to come and get them. You have to come and get them. So that is my appeal today. You understand what I'm saying, Devon? The governor is too, you know.
I'm following.
You don't sit down, well, them from Gingerland and Rollins. How are you from the behave yourself? Right? And them from our backs. And when you hear shooting, you say, oh, is it DRD? That's not good enough. If you know where the source is, you deal with it. If the water is not clean, it will remain dirty until you check the source. So that is my appeal today in response to all that they're planning to do and they hope to do. Look after our youths who need an opportunity. Everybody don't want to cut grass. Everybody was not born to cut grass. They have skills. Some want to become mechanics. I mean, imagine that they could turn bicycle into motorized bike. Is these ordinary train on the road, you know? Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't tell my boy, when you all don't open a shop to repair vehicles. They're good. They could make them, they could repair them, they could repair all sorts of things. Give them a chance. All right, then.
All right, caller, and thank you for your contribution to this program. I agree with you to the extent, you know, of implementing those programs to combat the crime situation, well, as it relates to St. Lucia. And even doing that here in St. Kitts and Nevis to continue to keep it under control. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Devon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, interesting to hear your newscast, the news break that says that the president has signed an arrest for Putin. It's interesting to see what's going to happen to this arrest that he has signed. You know, they also know how to distract us with their, I don't even know what to call it. But, you know, let us just look and see what's going to happen, because in as much as people who is going to paint Putin and say, well, he has blood on his hand and all of that, well, I am following the trend and I know where Russia stands when it comes to Africans in history and presently. Now, Let me remind the listening public, when the war broke out in Ukraine, there was about 200 Nigerians flocked the Ukraine embassy in Ukraine who went to offer themselves as volunteers to go and fight against Russia. Today in the UK, Ukrainian refugees, because of the area that they are placed in the United Kingdom, they are furious because they are not happy with the mix of different ethnicity that is living in this area. Now, we know how Africans were treated at the borders. Dogs was allowed to board the train, and Africans who weren't supposed to be in Ukraine. Well, let me restate that. Those who were there, whether they were in university or whatever, they were prohibited to board the train, and dogs was allowed to go on the train. Devon, I am saying that to say that our Creator is telling us we don't have to go to the West now for education. We have to know how to interpret these events. The scripture tells us that in the last days, wars and rumors of wars going to happen. The Most High is speaking to us in many ways because we are the firstborn, Devon. We are the now for the gentleman who called before the news break and said that there are no such as carbon copy. Well, let me refer, Devon, get out your pen and piece of paper and take this down for your own knowledge. I'm gearing you towards the scripture, Devon. Go to the Epistle of John, not St. John, the Epistle, John chapter 3, and read from verse 9, go down. And it tells us that after what took place in the garden with Cain and Abel, John, Epistle 3 from 9, go down, you're going to get a picture of when God appeared to Cain and said, he slew his brother because he was of the seed of his father. God was not referring to himself as Cain's father, Devon. He was referring to the enemy of God, Satan, who was the father of Cain. Because in the garden, it says after Eve took the seed, he said, I shall put enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent, Devon. How clear is that for us today? But we still want to believe that all of us came from Eve and Adam. Devon, when you get time, please, for your own, let me see for your own future and your unborn future, read Epistle of John 3 and go back to Genesis, and you're going to match the two. Devon, we swallow what they gave us, hook, line, and sinker. We swallow everything wholesale. And the scripture, the truth is hidden in plain sight. We are even worshiping a God that has nothing to do with us. Because if the God that created Abel, who Cain slew, and in John Epistle 3, God said to Cain, you are of the seed of your father, the devil, the wicked one. Then is our God wicked? Everyone, thank you for hearing me.
And Carla, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News on WINNFM 98.9, Saturday, March 18, 2023. The phone lines are open and we are welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us. People make the world go
Welcome back to the program. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Greetings. Thanks for taking our call, and thanks for information flowed so far. Let me start with Jamaica. Jamaica money not got no value, you know, so upping up of the minimum wage, me know say it welcome. So me want to say congrats to all whom it may concern in terms of making that happen, and yeah, bigging up the people. Okay. We answer, well, it's the same boat. It's the same boat, you know. Crime. But before we say anything about Anya Sachs and Lucia, we want to remind all and sons, you know, that the greatest crime against humanity, them case they not try yet, you know. Not in the Hague now, nowhere. We just hear about the Hague a while ago with Russia. We have to laugh. Them case they not try yet. The greatest crime against humanity. Our enslavement for hundreds of years. Human cargo, and what happened after that, and, you know, we know the story. Bitter story. Atrocities that is unimaginable. That case they not try yet. All out not try yet. Not in the Hague, nowhere. It not try yet. So we want to remind all and sundry that. Now, let's come to this plantation land, you know, we call home. Some time ago, the whole heap of shooting and killing thing, the ease off. And it was said that people getting paid to ease it off. People picking up money to ease it off. Okay. Whatever it was, you know, whatever it was off to a point. So we have welcomed it. Because life priceless. Life priceless. You see me? All right. We see it raise it ugly head again. And we don't like it. We don't like it at all. And we need to get to the root of it, as they would say, the bottom of it, and make sure it is no more. It be like how it was until we get rid of it altogether. Some people say we can't get rid of it. But I know, you know, I don't believe. I know that with the 7 billion plus people in the earth, everybody is different. And whatever things people do or say, whatever flexes come from people, let's deal with the bad flexes. It's in them. That's why the flex bad. So we need to get rid of the bad flexes or the bad people who flex bad. That's the only way earth from the purge. I mean, I care about the color. Yes, we have a lot of things going on behind the scene. What causing a lot of things in our midst? them elements they need to get rid of too. There could be part of the white supremacy a little more. Them is human like we. And we need to get rid of them. Same way. Because Earth cannot continue to run like this. We hear the sound of one make about guns. And we agree with that sound. And if you're going to keep guns away from the people in general, then policemen no have gun neither. There have been no guns down here at all. Once you're not letting everybody have guns. Because police is people just like everybody else. Yeah. So we need a level playing field when it comes to guns. Yeah. We need to set it how it ought to be set. Otherwise we're not going nowhere. We're just making one step forward and 19 backward. Yeah. I think we have said enough. Give thanks to the time. Perfect love.
And thank you so much, Carla, for your contribution to the program. This is Inside the News right here on Wood FM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we're welcoming your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. We'll head back to the phone lines and we'll be taking some more calls. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Devon.
How are you doing? Good afternoon.
Yeah, Devon, not too bad. Mr. Politics here, speaking. First, I always want to thank God for life, thank God for the Federation. Think it may be. True country, and I believe we got good people, but we got outdone with the political ignorance. But we will never get nowhere. Anyway, Devon, politics have a time. And when politics time come around, we could deal with that. And we must talk, because this is our country and we got to talk when we see things going wrong. But not curse down and fight down and enemy one another because of politics. I get all of that. So that's the reason why I'm speaking like that. And I kind of ease up after this so much of political talk and talk more conscious about my country. Nobody there, man. No, with black people. I don't know, you really your topic, you got a different, a special topic.
No, go
But
ahead.
You got a special topic?
Go ahead, Carla. You can make your point.
Yes. I want to say with black people, if black people don't come together as one, the whole they come together as one. White, black, Indian, Chinese, whatever mix. We will never get nowhere. We will stay where we be. Because what the man, we saying black people was enslaved. Right? But black, no white man was in the jungle in Africa. His black man was in the jungle in Africa. And his white man went on there and buy black man. And black man sell white man. Black man sell black man. So, when people come in and talking about white man this and white man that are the brainwash are we? I want to know God, the Father God, the white man and the Indian and the Chinese them, more knowledge and wisdom than us. I don't want to know that, Brother Devon. I want to know if they give us more knowledge and wisdom than us. They say the brainwash us, they this us, and so much is. What we want to me, black people, if we enslave with so much is, and we know better. We are supposed to say better and know better. Especially those in Africa. Look at the people in Haiti suffering. The people in Haiti suffering because of the cause they want to come together. They say people go in and steal out this and steal out back, this and steal out back and steal out whatever, ever. If people don't come together, listen, if people don't come together as one, because we are one, we say one wall. Right? Getting this black and white business, because listen, who come in here and invest in the money? Is the Indian, the Chinese, the black millions, them here in think to got money and doing nothing, them providing nothing with the job. The only successful black man was in Sinkit and Nibit as a businessman for years was Barker and Kelly, providing job for people. You know, is Rams, and Rams them is more Indian. I mean, they hear long, some of them born here. But what our people is doing, what our black people is doing here, who got money to provide jobs for our people. Eh? We can't criticize something and we ain't starting something. We got to start somewhere. If we start somewhere, we ain't going to reach nowhere. And that is our problem. That is our downfall. We is our downfall. Black people is our downfall. Because look at the sugar industry when the sugar industry closed. When the sugar industry closed, who got the sugar cane? Who was the main labor in the sugar industry? Mm-hmm. It's we black people. We parents, and we come cut cane after we parents them cut. And when the sugar industry closed, what we get? We get cut, we ain't get nothing. And the same black people who we got was in charge. Then some of them ain't working in the industry at all. Then nobody working in the industry. But what they get big house, they get this, they get that, they get all kind of things. And up to now, a sugar worker ain't have a big mansion and nothing for himself, an apartment nowhere. You understand? So we is our own downfall. And if we come together and see that we is one, the whole world or whatever's come together, we ain't gonna get nowhere. Because as far as I can tell, the whole world got to unite to everybody get everybody thing. Because white are come invest, black are come invest, and you know the world got to go on with them. And you have a good day. God bless you and keep you.
All right, then, Colin, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9 WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Buildings damaged by an earthquake are dangerous. This is not the...
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Breathe easy. With the holidays just over, and lots of funds spent on holiday supplies, activities and gifts, how are your finances? If your answer wasn't favorable, TDC Financial Services is here to help you breathe easy. Up to $40,000 unsecured to consolidate your loans and even get a little something in your hand. No need to worry. Visit our social media pages or call 465-6516 or 469-5430 to learn more on how you can breathe easy with TDC Financial Services Limited. Terms and conditions apply.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Devon, good day to you again. First of all, like I said, when speaking of gangs, one of the things that help the growth of gangs is forcing children to go to school and not suspending them when they need to be suspended. And those children who are a nuisance in school, a disturbance in school, they disrupt the educational atmosphere. And not only that, some of them are members of gangs, and they recruit other students in schools to become gang members. I have seen it. And those students, when they leave school, they have created X amount of other students to be gang members. And those students would have been better off if they were suspended from schools. But because we force them from school and don't suspend them as they ought to be suspended, they increase the gang problem from the days of school. So when they come out of school, they bring other followers with them. And like I said, we ignore and reject the Bible to our own ruin, destruction, and peril. Now, I would just like to say, Miss Henry, you do not really accept all of the Bible. You only accept some based upon your whims and fancies, and you reject other parts of the Bible based upon your whims and fancies because you don't accept all that Paul originally wrote as to be scriptures from God. So nobody who do that can say truly and properly they believe the Bible. No, they believe some of it and reject others of it based upon the whims and fancies. Now, also I would like to say, concerning America saying that they want to jail Putin, nobody has committed more war crime than America. Nobody has committed more war crime than America. I also would like to say that somebody said that, well, not somebody, but Johnny said that Cain was the seed of Satan, and he gave, well, it's supposed to be 1 John chapter 3. But what Genesis chapter 4 verse 1 says, Adam had sex with Eve, or he knew Eve, and she begot Cain. So Adam was Cain's father, Eve was Cain's mother. And what 1 John is speaking of, it's speaking of in a spiritual sense, because 1 John chapter 3 verse 9 and following saying, if you do not love, as the Bible says love is, and if you're living in sin, you are not of God, you're of the devil. So it is speaking about in a spiritual sense of people who are living in sin. The Bible said that if you're living in sin, you are not of God. But if you is a Christian, you are living in love, as the Bible tells us love is, as you find in Romans chapter 13. The Bible said, and such a person is of God. So it is speaking in 1 John chapter 3 in a spiritual sense. And he named out Cain as a spiritual example who killed his brother, who did not love his brother, and who was living in sin, that he was a spiritual child of Satan and not a spiritual child of God. But physically, he was a child of Adam through Eve. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. Also, I would like to say is that yesterday we were talking about recession, but what I want to say is that in 2008 we had a recession, but this recession that is coming, provided God doesn't give us godly leaders that would apply and enforce the Bible policies and the different countries of the world, this recession that is coming is going to be far worse than the 2008 recession or financial crisis. And you see, many people were talking about the financial crisis that was coming, that came in 2008, and that was rejected as conspiracy theories. Men like Larry Beckett and Peter Schiff and other men. But then it came in 2008. So they were found to be telling the truth and not to be telling conspiracy theories. And it was the others who were accusing them of conspiracy theories. It was they who were propagating the conspiracy theories. But because of the bank bailouts and that sort of stuff, it postponed the worsening of the 2008 financial crisis. And the one that is coming, like I said, provided Jesus Christ doesn't give us godly men who would apply the Bible, the financial crisis that is coming is going to be far worse than the 2008. And so, and not only that, Miss Henry said that when the officials said that the police were having a high rate of detection, she said that the officials were lying. Well, I would like to know, when she said that the officials were lying, was she telling conspiracy theories then, because she was going against the official statement? So you see, what goes for one goes for all. Saying everything that is official is true. As a matter of fact, a lot of stuff that are official is not true, and a lot of stuff that are not official, a lot of them are true, including concerns about the COVID situation and many other things as well. Okay, thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. It is 12 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. We will bring this program to a close at 1:30. Of course, stay tuned to WINNFM 98.9. We have at 6 p.m. our daily sports and newscast. For those of you who are just joining the program, we began with the crime situation in St. Lucia and hearing from callers' recommendations or things that can be done to address that. We do have some more callers on the line, so let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take these calls. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yes, good afternoon. In the matter with President Putin, well, as you said, it's of no value. I don't know if you recall when the ICC was trying the Americans for slaughtering the people in Afghanistan. President Trump, he robbed some of them, said they can't do that. America can't do that. So when you hear now people getting all excited about Putin, they the same and tell them 1, 2, 3, 4. This one going down and that one coming up. What difference does it make if America go down and Putin come up? It make no difference. But we're looking for deliverance from people who have none for their own people. None. And the conspiracy theorists.
That's an interesting
up in arms. A lot of what they say can't be backed up, so they go on the alternative side. And brother, the Bible have in Matthew chapter 7 for you. The Bible also talk about greed, you know, and the love of money. When people got to go into the lottery ticket place every week to buy tickets, it ain't in the Bible, so it ain't sin, but greed in there, you know. And the love of money got people putting down on pick 4, pick 7, pick 100. When they hear 2 million at stake, they take up the last penny. So that doesn't apply to some people, but it applies other things. The Bible says the word of God is revealed by the Spirit, and the apostles themselves say that some things that Paul say are difficult to understand. So, all of you who think that, America and Putin, they are the same. America is actually fighting Russia through Ukraine. Anybody with common sense could see that. So I personally have no side to take. All I would say is the Americans begin to push, and Europe to push Ukraine to edge they want to go in there. So all of them fighting one another. And we just looking on, but some of us trying to get involved. This and that. And it matter about the recession. I don't know why some people want everything to collapse, and they don't know God. We can got this big recession, and we don't know God. And the answer is in 2 Chronicles 7:14. 2 Chronicles, if my people say, when all of these hardship come, there's only one way out, you know. Humble yourself, pray to the true God, seek his face, turn from your wicked ways. Only then will I hear from heaven, forgive your sins and heal your land. And a lot of what? Somebody doing economics. Straight out you doing economics. Straight out you doing economics. If this come, everything going down. Everything going down. We have a global economy now, you know. Globalization have all the countries and the institutions linked together. So one hole in the boat, water coming in the boat, everybody going down. Why are you all looking for it? You better get on your knees and pray, you know. And again, the American dollar going to crash. If it crash, everything going to crash. I say it again. Ask anybody who know anything. Because all the market, you heard about the different markets. Mm-hmm. The bank go down. This market in China, this market in Europe going down. So they are going to step in. Unless they want to see the end of their country, they will step in. They will step in to save because they stand to lose. It's like in 2008, 2009, when we went to the IMF, whether you were interested or not, if you had government bonds, that's loans to the government, you lost 50%. Shares that you should get in 90 days, 180 days, or 360. And some of them you can get them until 45 years from 2009. Who got in there either done dead. You know what I mean? And we rebound. We rebound. You all don't have no faith. You are looking for destruction. Well, black people going down, white people going down, yellow, red, blue, everybody going down. So it is not in the interest of any color people to want the world thing to crash. God will tell me, it's going to come, you know. Again, those whose currency are linked, in case some of you don't know, China has massive investment in the USA. Do you know that, Devon?
Yes.
Yeah. You think China got sit down there and let them lose everything? Russia got investment in America. A lot of them have all of their gold and their whatever there. That is why they could put down sanction on them, because the money there in the bank. You must think logical. If you hear, boy, this bank going on, you're going to run, go down there. If you run, go down there to the bank, like how some people tried, what I was when the government changed, to break the bank. You want going there. Ask all those who used to go down in the circus from night till morning just to get $50. When you run on the bank, you're killing it yourself. It's like price increase. If you hear, well, sugar going up, and everybody want to buy off the sugar, well, the little bit that is left must go up. So why are you all trying to, oh, well, we don't got a world in. Darling, God will determine that day. You all are too pessimistic. Everything dark, because you all have no God. And the other one, my good friend, Brother Greg, if you are judged like or you're judging other people, you will be in a worse category than me. You condemning, tell people, repent. So what does repentance mean? It means to turn away from sin. You can't sit down there and decide who is Christian and who ain't Christian. If I am not living according to the word of God, you say so. I am free to describe what I know because I know. I don't guess. Too many conspiracy theory people come on, and when they can't get people to follow them, they go off. We got to do better. We got to do reason, logical. Is logic beating us, you know? Logic is beating us, even in this country. We're not logical. We don't think straight. So if all of you expect the banks them here to go down, it go down, with whatever little you got. It's not going to be America alone. Let me say it again. All of us in St. Kitts and Nevis who have our money in the banks. If you're praying for the American thing to crash, then we're going to crash too. So we must do what we can to support our banks, and stop wishing ill on people. And the thing about, as Mr. Politics say, you're timing up, you forget about the white people and start to do what you can to build up black people. How many of you got school, start after school program, things like that, and you about them, they should expel them. If they're going to expel them, they should be put in a place where they can continue the education. I, for one, was against putting children out of Basset High School, out of fourth form. I thought they were years. It grieved me. Oh, well, you can't pass 5, so you must go. Go do what? The government don't want to hire you unless you have 4 6. You know that, Devon?
Yes, that's the requirement to get into the service.
Yeah, 4 and then 5. And to get into CFBC and teaching now, you must have English, maths, and science.
And a science, yes.
And geography. Well, you ain't want nobody in there. When they go to the college, you teach them that. They're in there 2 years. So you let them go in and you teach them. And then when they come to the passing, like the nursing, we're not helping, you know. We're not helping. We're just talking. I mean, so many things we could do. Imagine you're a preschool teacher. Let me get to the teaching. Now, my daughter she trained. She went to Trinidad for a whole year. And that goes to all those who went to the Trinidad school as preschool teachers and got certificates and so. You're going to tell me you're now coming and decide that, well, that certificate that you spend a whole year away from your children, a whole year from your family, all of a sudden it has no value. You must now go, you're teaching donkey years, you know. You have been taught new techniques and everything. You are now saying to them, they cannot be appointed as teachers because they have not been to CFBC. That's unfair to Devon?
No.
Do you know about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some teachers have been complaining about that
My daughter
situation
is one.
as well. Yeah.
A very good preschool teacher, trained in Trinidad. They can't get no promotion. They can't. I mean, they're working for minimum wage after spending one whole year in a college, you know. They send them. I mean, we're not encouraging our people. We're suppressing. So for all of those who allow the black only, and God they make the white people, well, I asked my good friend Jody, who make the Chinese, who make the Japanese, who make the Indians, the Asians. Oh, I mean, really. You all blaspheming and you all don't know. You blaspheming. But God has made of one blood all flesh on the earth. It does not, I am not saying that the people them did not do bad. They did evil. They did harm to our people. But I am not going to sit down there and lament over it. That is why they open UWI. That's why they open schools. That's why they open colleges black people are talking about. Because they refuse to stay there by the plantation gate. That's where a lot of us live. By the plantation gate. That is why you have prime minister. Black people. Governor, black people. You are going to be more positive, more forward-looking. It is true what was done to us was wrong and evil. What are we to do now? Up to now, they can't come with a solution. Oh, we must all get together. Only people of like mind get together. You can't be preaching, oh, our enemies. You got enemy? You ain't got to make an enemy. Just ignore some people. You build your life. Build up your children in your area. Build up your family. I went to university, you know, and thank God 2 already don't come out. Went in and come out. My daughter went in and got 2. My son and my daughter went to college. You understand? And I expect all of my grandchildren that they listen to me, let me tell them now, I expect them to elevate themselves. I ain't got no money to give you, but education is power. And so therefore, while you're criticizing, run some afternoon classes. Our children need help in maths.
All right, then.
All right, then.
All right, Carla, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. This is Inside the News on WinFM 98.9 for Saturday, March 18, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the program. We'll take one last call and we'll wrap up the discussion for today. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, hello. Sorry, Devon. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. Nowhere in the Bible condemns gambling, okay? But if you're going, and when it comes to greed go for everything in life. Remember, Jesus Christ gave an example of a man who got extra increase on the crops, and instead he used it the biblical way. He built up big barns. That was a teaching in greed. It ain't necessarily had to do with gambling. Now, only that, if you're going to say gambling is greed, then hey, stocks, bonds, government treasuries, all of those are wagering. So that they also are gambling as well. Because when you buy such, you are wagering as well and expecting to get more on your money. So let's use good arguments, not illogical arguments. Because when you point one finger, 3 pointing back at you if you have government bonds, stocks, or treasuries, because those are wagering as well. But greed in the Bible ain't about those things. Greed in the Bible is about what you do with what you have. Are you using it the biblical way to further the kingdom of God? That if you ain't doing that, then you are greedy with what you have. So we need to understand what greed is. And like I said, nowhere in the Bible condemn gambling. And then if you're going to say so, then look at government treasuries, bonds, and stocks. They too are gambling because they too are wagering. And like to tell everybody, if you die outside of Jesus Christ, you're going to end up in hell for all eternity. Only the blood of Christ could save you from your sin and from hell. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. This has been another edition of Inside the News right here on WINNFM 98.9 for Saturday, March 18, 2023. And I've been your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for your contribution. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Remember, don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Enjoy your Saturday and the rest of the weekend.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't